Hello PropStat students. Today we are reviewing Project 1 Food Core Content 2 on histograms. So last core content we learned about a dot plot, but sometimes dot plots are not a useful way to display quantitative data. Look at this data set here. How many hours of sleep did you get last night? Each number is unique, so the dot plot does not show any answers that are showing up more than once. So this does not display the information well. Histograms are another way to display quantitative data. If you take a look at the histogram, you can see that the data points have been separated into bins of equal size. So we took bins that were 2 hours long, 5 to 7 hours, 7 to 9 hours, and 9 to 11 hours. And we separated the data points into those bins. So there were 3 people who got between 5 and 7 hours of sleep, and you can see that here. There were 5 people who got between 7 and 9 hours of sleep. Those are in this bin. And there were 3 people who got between 9 and 11 hours of sleep, and those are in here. When you analyze a histogram or a dot plot, you can use SOCs. SOCs is just to remind you to do shape, outlier, center, and spread. We say that the shape of this graph is symmetric because the left side is a mirror image of the right. An outlier would be a data point that differs significantly from the other observations. So in this case, since this is a symmetric graph and there are no outliers all the way on the side, we say there are no outliers in this data. The center could be described with the mean, which is the average, or the median, which is the middle. Both the mean and the median are 8 hours for this data set. Spread can be defined by standard deviation, which is going to be learned in a later unit, or range, which is the maximum value minus the minimum. For this data set, the range is 10.5, our biggest value, minus 5.5, our smallest value, which is 5 hours. Quick refresher on finding mean and median. If I had this data set of ages in my family, I would add all of the ages and divide by the number of people. So adding all the ages gives me 120. Dividing by 5 people gives me 24, which is the mean of the data set. To find the median, I need to put the numbers in order, 1, 12, 15, 46, 46, and then find the middle number, which is 15. How would an outlier change the graph? So let's take a look at this data set. The last person, instead of getting 10.5 hours of sleep, got 16 hours of sleep last night. So you can see how the outlier is all the way over here, away from the rest of the graph. Now we say that the shape is skewed right, which means the graph has been pulled to the right. The outlier is 16 hours. The center, we can say the median is still 8. 8 is still the middle number. But now the mean, if I add up all these numbers, I get 93.5. Divide it by 11 numbers, and now my mean is 8.5. The spread, which we'll describe with the range, is the largest minus the smallest, and I get 10.5. So down here, just a little bit more explanation. 16 is an outlier because it varies significantly from the other data points. We will have a more exact definition of outlier in later units. The outlier skews or pulls the graph to the right in this case. The outlier changed the mean or the average of the data set, but did not change the median. Whenever a graph is skewed to the right, the mean will be greater than the median. A graph can also be skewed to the left. Take this data set. We put the largest value back at 10.5, but now the smallest value has been changed to 1. So now you can see that 1 is the outlier over here on the left. So now we say that the shape is skewed left, The outlier is 1 hour of sleep. For the center, the median is still 8. 8 is still our middle number, but now the mean is 7.6, and the spread, which we're going to describe with range, is 9.5. Down here, a little bit more explanation. 1 is an outlier because it varies significantly from the other data points. The outlier skews or pulls the graph to the left. The outlier changed the mean of the data set but did not change the median. And whenever a graph is skewed to the right, oops, that should be to the left. We're going to change that. The mean is less than the median.